طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا جميعا أيها الإخوة والأخوات. Welcome everyone to today's class where we continue inshallah ta'ala studying the book العربية بين يديك, and today we do the second part of, or the second lecture on unit 4 الحياة اليومية, daily life. طيب, we'll start off with some explanation of some grammar. After that, we'll do some exercises on that explanation on the new concepts that we learn. Then I'll share with you what you're going to be doing in the workshop, and we might, hopefully we'll get time for a Quizlet competition on vocabulary at the end. طيب, إذا نبدأ. بسم الله. After that, we'll do some exercises. 1 second. Let me turn this off. Okay, so here we are on lecture 8. Alhamdulillah, as you can see, we are basically halfway. Almost. Next week, inshallah, it's revision. And you will do, this week I'm going to release a quarterly test for units 3 and 4. And on Saturday, inshallah, first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over the exam results. We haven't actually gone over the unit 1 and unit 2 exam results. We got to the third week, and then I thought to myself, I might as well just do it when we're doing revision. So on Saturday, we'll go over unit 1 and unit 2 quarterly test results, see what the common mistakes are. We'll also go over unit 3 and unit 4 test results, see what the mistakes are, what we can learn from, and we'll revise. Okay? And then we'll also do some revision on Tuesday. Then inshallah next week, one from Tuesday, or next week, Monday, And inshallah from Tuesday till about Friday, you got about 3 days to revise and attempt to do the midterm exam. Inshallah ta'ala. Okay? That's something to look forward to. Bi'idhnillah al-Kareem. If you're still, mashallah, holding on and attending regularly, congratulations, mashallah, well done. If you have some gaps here and there and you're holding on for dear life, I say to you, keep on holding on, inshallah. Once you get to the halfway, you do the midterm exam, and inshallah you get a good result. Hopefully that will be a source of motivation for you to see out the other half, inshallah. Barakallah feekum. طيب, the first thing we're going to do is quickly recap some of the things we've done before, not necessarily last week, but I just want to introduce, if I haven't already introduced it last lesson, let me double check. It should have been part of the grammar explanation for Saturday. Okay, or maybe it was last week's, I'm not sure. Basically, we're going to talk about adjectives. I think we talked about it. We talked about it last week. Last week we talked about adjectives. So we're going to revise that, inshallah, because this is very much related to what we're going to learn today, inshallah ta'ala. Today we are going to learn Arabic sentence structure, or basic sentences, the sentence structure for basic Arabic sentences. Okay? Which is really the foundation on which everything's built. We talked about the 3 categories of speech before. Okay? That itself is obviously a foundation, because no matter what book you read in the Arabic language, even the Quran, which is in Arabic, it consists of words. Before that, it consists of letters. But alhamdulillah, all of you know how to read. Okay? And letters don't have meaning by themselves. But these letters, they come together and they form words. And these words have meanings. Okay? And we said that these words are only one of 3 categories. Either they're nouns, verbs, or particles. Ism, fi'l, or harf. That itself is amazing. That itself is very encouraging. That, wow, no matter, if I open the Mus'haf, I open the Quran, every word that I come across, I can put it in one of only 3 buckets. That's it? Yes. And when you put them in one of 3 buckets, it's not like each bucket is randomly chosen. No. It means that all of those words within that category, they've got a lot in common. And generally speaking, they share the same grammar rules. Okay? So that itself is absolutely amazing. So you have the verbs. In total, there are only 3 types. Okay? So that itself shows you the structure of the Arabic language. Whereas the English language, if you talk about parts of speech, you're looking at in the double digits, right? You can't just put them in 3 buckets, okay? Because of the fact that it's not as systematic as the Arabic language. Now, having said that, we have the 3 categories of speech, right? But these words, if I give you a list of words, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't give you meaning. So if I say to you, for example, Muhammad, Sayyara, Bait, Fi, Ala, Dakhala, and I just give you a list of vocabulary words, they don't give you meaning. Okay, so these words, even though each word by itself has a meaning, yes, so we know it's Sayyara. Sayyara means car. We know what Bait is, it's a house. You have something in your mind, you know what it is. But they don't give you a meaning by themselves. It doesn't give you any information, actionable information, or any information that you might need. Yes, it doesn't tell you something that has happened. It doesn't describe anything. Yes, it's just a word. So these words, they come together and they make sentences. Okay, so if you like, the smallest unit of meaning in the Arabic language comes in the form of a sentence. A sentence. Okay, so when you figure out the structure of a sentence and you understand it properly, you have figured out the components of a language. Because it doesn't matter what I say to you, I'm going to say it to you in sentences. Okay? I'm going to make my point in terms of sentences. Now, those sentences will come together and make a paragraph, but if you understand each sentence individually, you will understand the paragraph. Okay? Same thing can be said about words. Even if you understand all the words in a dictionary, if you memorize an Arabic language dictionary from beginning till end, you still won't understand Arabic. But if you figure out a sentence structure, you know how it's structured, and by looking at the sentence, you know what type of sentence it is. You know where the verb is, where the subject of the verb is, where the object is, where the subject is, the predicate, and what an adjective, what mudaf ilayh is. You manage to figure this out, you crack that code, mashallah. Then the only limiting factor really is, obviously there are more advanced sentence structures that you can learn about, but the thing that will really limit you then in your comprehension is the amount of vocabulary that you've memorized, which again is something that you will continue doing, inshallah ta'ala, while you are on this journey. Father? So, before we go to Arabic sentence structures, yes, we're going to have to quickly recap and make sure there's something that you understand, because this thing, you understanding this, is going to be the key to understanding one of the basic sentence structures. Okay, first thing, the most prominent part of speech in the Arabic language are nouns. They're more prominent than even verbs. Okay, that's why you can have a sentence, a complete sentence in the Arabic language that is verbless, that doesn't have a verb. But you can never have a complete sentence that doesn't have a noun. That's one thing. So I can't overstate the importance of understanding what nouns are and always remembering their features. So we said a noun has 4 attributes. An ism has 4 attributes, 4 main attributes. Okay? We've mentioned that many times. So let me ask you that again, inshallah, just to refresh our brains before I go ahead and explain. Lecture 8. Okay. Find the link in the Zoom chat. So the question basically is, What are the 4 features or attributes that every noun has? What are the, and I'm helping you by telling you it's 4. Okay? Well, let's say features of nouns. I posted the link in the Zoom chat. Ism. No, ism means noun. Barakallah fiqh. What are the 4 features of asma? Now, basically, every noun has to tick one of 4 boxes. It's actually 5, to be honest, but the 5th one we'll talk about later. But the 4 main ones. Okay? So whatever noun you come across, it's going to have 4 attributes, 4 features, 4 whatever boxes. Yes? That it's going to tick. So we have jins. Jins, you mean, I suppose, gender. Anyway, here we have someone, barakallahu fihi, or fiha, that's mentioned all 4, which is definiteness, single, plural, what we call number, i'rab, and gender, or definiteness, i'rab, gender, or number. طيب, أحسنت. In other words, every single noun is either male or female. It's either singular, plural, or dual. It's either marfu', mansub, or majroor. One of those 3 states of i'rab, or it could be mabni. And it's either definite or indefinite. واضح? Depending on which of these boxes each word ticks, from it is going to follow on its own grammatical attributes of the noun itself. So the masculine nouns are different from the feminine nouns in certain ways. The singular nouns and the plural nouns are different, how they are made, okay, and the likes. And also, depending on which box it ticks, it is going to play a different role within the sentence, okay? It's going to play a different role within the sentence. These attributes of a noun is going to have an effect on other words in the sentence. And that's what I'm going to explain to you today, inshallah. Especially this one. This one is something that is so underrated. So underrated. If a noun is definite or indefinite, it's extremely underrated. When in essence, your understanding of a sentence depends on it. And I'm going to show you today, inshallah. I'm going to give you a quiz today you're going to do. And you're going to appreciate the importance of knowing the difference between definite nouns and indefinite nouns. Right. Okay. So these are the 4 attributes. Definiteness, either it is definite or indefinite, nakira or ma'rifa, we call it in Arabic. And this is called ta'rif, okay? Nakira or ma'rifa. Then we have al-jins, the gender, which is either masculine or feminine, mu'annath or mudhakkar. Then we have number or jama', or they don't really call it jama', they call it mufrad, muthanna, or jama'. That's what they call it in Arabic. They just mentioned all 3. Okay? And then we have i'rab. It's the case endings, the endings of the word. Fatha, kasra, dhamma, or whatever. طيب. Now, this is the first thing I want to teach you. This is the first thing I want to point out today to show you the importance of noun features. When it comes to adjectives, okay? Adjectives, they follow their nouns in every single one of these 4 features. This is what we call, in Arabic grammar, agreement. Extremely important concept. Okay? So adjectives agree with their nouns in all of these 4 things. What's meant by that is basically, if the noun that you're describing, adjectives are words that describe other words, such as Muhammadun. For example, if you say Muhammadun tawilun, Muhammad is tall. Now, tawilun is an adjective, right? Or Muhammadun at-tawil. At-tawil is an adjective, right? The tall Muhammad. Okay? So here, at-tawil it is what? Definite. Just like Muhammadun is definite. It's a proper noun. At-tawil is masculine because Muhammad is masculine. At-tawil is singular because Muhammad is singular. And at-tawilu, it is marfu', it has dhamma at the end because Muhammadun is dhamma at the end. That's what I mean with it agrees with the noun. Okay? And alhamdulillah, the fact that the noun comes before the adjective in the Arabic language, it helps a lot. So at least you can see the noun and then the adjective coming after. It's not like English, where it's the other way around. So let's do some practice on that. We have here a sentence in the Arabic language. لدينا شقة جميل. So I want you to tell me where the agreement is. Okay? So here we have, let's do multiple choice. Whatever, I mean, obviously shaqqatun or shuqqatun is the noun and jamil is the adjective, right? So I want you to tell me, click or pick any of these attributes or features if the two nouns agree. Okay, and wherever they don't agree, then do not add anything. Okay, and let me add that. Because I'm going to post that on WooClap. I want you to look at all four. This might be a bit difficult to start off with, but don't worry, you'll get used to it, inshallah. And just like I've told one of the brothers last lesson, when he said that, this is difficult, Ustad. I think we were talking about verb conjugation and the likes. And I said to him, look, Akhi, this is not difficult. It's new. And the proof that it's not difficult is the fact that you have 2- and 3-year-old Arab boys and girls. 2- or 3-year-old Arab boys or girls, infants, babies, children, toddlers who speak Fusha, who actually implement these grammar rules without even thinking about it. Okay? What does that prove? That proves that that it's easy, it's doable. Okay? So why are you finding it difficult then if it's that easy? Because it's new. It's new. New things, they need a bit of time. New things need a bit of time before you can get used to them, inshallah. Now here, you can choose multiple answers, huh? You can choose multiple answers, barakallahu fikum. So if it agrees, if this noun, here's the noun, here's the adjective, okay? Whichever of these attributes you find that there's agreement, then click on it. If there's no agreement, then leave it blank. If there's no agreement, then leave it blank. If there's no agreement, then leave it blank. Okay, so in other words, do these two words agree on definiteness? Do they agree on gender? Do they agree on number? Do they agree on i'rab? Yes or no? Yes, click. No, leave it blank. Okay, so seems like all of you are sort of like agreeing that there is some discrepancy between the two nouns. Okay, which means there's a problem. That basically means that this sentence is wrong. There's some discrepancy, especially in these three. Okay, especially in these three for the most part. Yes, it means it's wrong. This one, if there's discrepancy, then it just means it's got a different meaning. Okay, but these three, if there's a discrepancy, then most likely one of the two nouns has a mistake. Right. All right, so let's check the answer. The answer is that there's agreement in all of them apart from gender. Apart from gender. Barakallahu fikum. لدينا شقة جميل. Yes, so there's agreement in i'rab. They both have dhamma at the end. There's agreement in definiteness because both of them are indefinite. As you can see, there's no alif lam, right, in any of them. Okay? And there's not mudaf ilayh because both of them have tanween. شقة جميل. And there's also agreement in number. This is singular and this is singular. However, there's no agreement in what? In gender. So there's a mistake here. There's what? A mistake here, barakallahu feekum. So if we check this out, we find that definiteness, tick. Number, tick. case, tick, gender, no. Wrong. It should be لدينا شقة جميلة. جميلة then would be feminine and شقة is feminine. That would be correct. Okay, how about this one? How about this one? I'm going to ask you another one. I'll ask you another question then. Exact same question again. Compare where the agreement is. And then click on it, inshallah. أريد بيتا جميلا. أريد بيتا جميلا. أريد بيتا جميلا. Okay, so again, seems like, oh, I was about to say all of you agree that the i'rab has agreement, but someone pulled back. Okay, bye. All right. To answer the question, we find that what? There's agreement in everything. Barakallahu fikum. This is actually a correct sentence. Baytan, masculine, masculine. Alhamdulillah. منصوب منصوب أي تو فتحة ستي أن تو فتحة ستي أن. Singular singular and indefinite and indefinite. Okay, واضح? Right. Let's go for another one. Let's go for the next one. يهديكم الله يصلح بالكم. I'm going to stop sharing so I don't want you to see the answer. Here we have another sentence. It says الشقة الجميلة في الدور الخامس. الشقة الجميلة في الدور الخامس. Okay. Okay, actually 1 minute. I'm going to change that. I'm going to change something about it. Okay. There we go again. الشقة الجميل. 1 second. Don't answer. Not done yet. Go ahead. الشقة الجميلة في الدور الخامسة. الشقة الجميلة في الدور الخامسة. Now you have to be eagle-eyed for this. Pay attention. Okay? Is there agreement here between the nouns and the adjectives? Yes or no? Indefiniteness, when it comes to definiteness, when it comes to gender, when it comes to number, and when it comes to case i'rab. Okay. طيب. All right. The answer here is that, alhamdulillah, I mean, that it seems to be okay because I think about 40% of you said there is no agreement here, which is good. Okay. Um, look, here we have two sets of adjectives and nouns. Barakallah fikum. Okay. So we have الشقة الجميلة. Okay. This is a noun. I'm going to color code it now. Let's say the noun, we'll make it green. And this is the adjective. Okay. We'll make that red. Okay. And then الدور الخامس is another one. Okay. Obviously that one, last minute I made it into خامسة just to put you off. Right. But the correct version is خامس. So الشقة الجميلة. There is agreement in definiteness, they're both definite. Agreement in gender, they're both feminine. Agreement in number, they're both singular. Agreement in i'rab because they're both dhamma. Okay. How about the next set of this one? Same thing. Singular, singular. Masculine, masculine. Definite, definite. And both of them have kasra at the end. Dawri al-khamisi. Obviously, when I put the ta in the question, then that was wrong. That was the mistake, basically. Because this is masculine, so this also needs to be masculine. Khamisi without ta marbuta. Okay? I know, like I said, maybe you got all four of them, all three questions wrong. Maybe you find it difficult. No problem. Inshallah ta'ala, you will get the hang of it, inshallah. Okay? How is that related to what we're going to talk about today? Okay? The reason it's related, and I'm going to try and be very concise, inshallah, because we won't have enough time to practice. We have two types of sentences in the Arabic language. Another beautiful thing about the language. Sentence types are only two types. There's no third. Either a sentence is a nominal sentence or is a verbal sentence. A nominal sentence is a sentence that starts with a noun, or that should start with a noun. Because we said Arabic is flexible. It might be that noun which was meant to come at the beginning, it might be thrown around a little bit. Yes. But regardless of where it is, okay, when you return it back to its original, if you like, structure, then that noun should be at the beginning. So that's a nominal sentence. Or another way to look at the nominal sentence as well is that, generally speaking, it's not. A nominal sentence does not mean it's a sentence that doesn't have a verb. A nominal sentence could have a verb as well, but the noun comes first. Then we have a verbal sentence. A verbal sentence. A verbal sentence is a sentence that starts with a verb. If the first word of the sentence is a verb, then you have a verbal sentence. Now, why is this so significant? The reason it's significant is because the Arabic language, every sentence has pillars. And what I mean by pillars is that without these pillars, the sentence would be incomplete. Okay? واضح? So when it comes to the nominal sentence, the two pillars of a nominal sentence are what we call mubtada and khabar, subject and predicate. Let me put it this way. A nominal sentence is basically when you mention something so that the person who's listening to you knows what you're talking about. Because if you don't have a mubtada, it's like, what are you talking about? Right? If I say to you, tawilun, tall, but I don't say before that, I don't say Muhammad, I don't say Ahmed, I don't say Anta, I don't say Ana. You're going to say, who is tall? So you have to have the subject first and foremost. What are you talking about, brother? What is it that you're talking about? That's the subject. That's what we call mubtada. Okay, it's the thing that you start with. That's why it's called mubtada in Arabic. It's the thing that you start with. That should be the first thing you mention. Like I said, it might come after for some reasons in certain occasions, but by default or the normal structure is that the mubtada comes first, and then we have what we call the khabar. English grammar is called predicate. Sounds a bit too ancient, right? Too difficult. But in Arabic, it's much easier. It's called khabar. Khabar as in news, information. Okay? So mubtada, the thing that you start with, khabar, the information. In other words, if I give you a name or I define the subject, I say to you, I, or I say to you, Khalid, or I say to you, Fatima, or I say to you, this book. Okay, all of these are mubtadas. Okay, all of these consist of mubtadas. You are waiting to hear something about that subject. If I just say to you, Muhammad, I'm not calling you, I just say Muhammad is a third person, right? I say Muhammad. You're like, what about him? But I walk up to you, I say to you, this book. Huh? This book. You're like, are you crazy? Right? That's the subject, basically. I gave you the subject. But you're waiting for the khabar. What about this book? You're waiting for the information. You're waiting for the predicate. Okay? So this way, I want to explain, this way I want you to realize that a sentence can't be complete without subject and predicate. If you just give the subject, we're waiting for the predicate. If you just mention the predicate, I don't know what you're talking about. If I just say expensive, what's expensive? Tall, what's tall? Beautiful, who's beautiful? صح? طيب. So these are the two pillars of a nominal sentence. What follows on from that is, my dear brother, my dear sister, if you don't find the subject and the predicate of a sentence, then you will not understand the sentence. Now, obviously, what do you say, in a beautiful world, in a very boring world, every sentence would be two words. Very boring. Imagine every sentence just consisted of a subject and a predicate. That's it. Life would be boring, right? Everything, that's how you speak. You sound very robotic. Muhammad is tall. The house is big. The lesson is nice. Okay? The food is delicious. If you talked like that, life would be boring. Obviously, the sentence is going to include a lot of extra things. Okay, it's going to include a lot of extra things. This in Arabic, we call it fadla. We call it extra. So the pillars are called umad. Umad, pillars of the sentence. And the extras, we call them fadla in Arabic. These are things that basically spice up your sentence. One of these fadla extra things is the thing we were just talking about, adjectives. Adjectives, they make what? They either spice up the sentence or they define what it is you're talking about, like we said. Okay? So I might say, for example, Kitab al-Muallim, or al-Kitabu, or I might say, for example, al-Talib al-Jadid, the new student. Now, the new student here, I haven't said anything about him yet, but I've defined which student I'm talking about. I'm talking about the new one, not the old ones that were already here. Okay? If I say, for example, the teacher's book, I haven't said anything about it yet, but I've defined what book I'm talking about. I'm talking about the teacher's book, not the student's book. Okay? So adjectives, mudaf, mudaf ilayh, these sort of things, they define the subject even more. Okay? Or they might spice it up in a sense that they might tell you, for example, I can say Muhammad, or I can say, for example, Muhammad lives in a house. Okay? But I can spice the language. I can say Muhammad lives in a beautiful, new, two-apartment complex, right? In the city center, right next to a mosque. Okay, all of this extra information. Okay, the pillars of the sentence, Muhammad lives in a house. That's the pillars. But all of this spices up your speech, and also it gives me a much better understanding of where Muhammad really lives. Because now, mashallah, I'm jealous in a good way. You know, I say Allahumma barik, I say mashallah. Okay, but if I just said Muhammad lives in a house, I'll be like, okay, so what? So that's basically what we call extras. Okay, you'll get to understanding the extras, but these extras will only make sense if you understand the pillars. If you're lost on the pillars, then you won't understand the sentence. All right, let me give you a sample question. Okay. So we have أنا مدرس. Okay. أنا مدرس. That's easy. That's what we talked about. Subject, predicate. أنا مدرس. خلاص. انتهينا. But how about this sentence? How about this sentence? I want you to translate it. I'll even give you the meaning of every single word separately. And just to prove to you that just knowing the meaning of each word in terms of vocabulary doesn't mean you'll understand the sentence. So I'm giving you this sentence. Okay? You all know what bait means. Kabir means big. Jamil means beautiful. Right? You all know what hada means. Bait is house. Right? I want you to translate the sentence now. Go ahead. هذا البيت الكبير جميل. Okay? Okay, I'm gonna hide it. I don't want you to copy others. I want you to try for yourself. Wow, amazing. Okay. And this just, I'm going to show you now, right? The importance of grammar. Okay. Here we have a lot of different sentences. All right. Let me copy a few of them. This is the big, beautiful house. Okay. That's one sentence. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. This is the big, beautiful house. This house is beautiful. Okay. That's another one. Then we have, this is a beautiful big house. Okay. That is also a different sentence. This is a beautiful big house. Then we have, this is the big, beautiful house. All right. Why did he not put and what between the adjectives? Because that's the sentence. If I say هذا البيت الكبير وجميل, it would be, first it would be wrong grammatically, and it would give a different meaning. Okay. This is a perfectly fine sentence. There's nothing wrong with it. Grammatically, it's a correct sentence. But the question is, do you understand what it means? Okay. Let's see. I did come across the correct answer so far. Big and beautiful house. No, you have to say this. If you don't add this, then there's definitely something wrong, because we have had that over here. This is a beautiful big house. We already have that. This is deep. We have this. We have this. The big house is beautiful. We also have that. The big house. The house is big and beautiful. Okay, so this is basically wrong, because you added and, which means what? We don't have that. The what is not here, but we'll add it for the sake of it, right? But it's not here. Okay. I think this represents most of your answers, if not all of them. Okay. So we have, this is a big, beautiful house. All right. Let's write down your answers. Okay. We have, this is the big, beautiful house. This big house is beautiful. This is a beautiful big house. This is the big, beautiful house. This house is big and beautiful. Okay. Obviously, every single one of these sentences got different meanings, by the way. Don't think it's just semantics that, oh, Ustad, what's the big deal? We get the meaning. No, I'm sorry. All of these sentences are different. Okay? All of these sentences are different. Okay? And they have different meanings as well. Okay? But we'll come to that. First, I'm going to explain to you, and then you are going to answer this question again after you have the knowledge about how to find the predicate, because that's basically what it's about. In other words, we all know that the subject is, we're talking about this house. Okay? Okay? So it's about, we're talking about this house, right? Talking about a house, that's the subject. Okay? Talking about this thing that we're pointing at. Okay? But what are we saying about it? What are we saying about it? Okay? Are we saying that it's beautiful and big? Is that the information we're giving? Or are we just saying that it is big? Or are we saying that it's beautiful? Okay, we'll come to it. In other words, what's the predicate? Finding the predicate. How do you find the predicate? How do you find the predicate? Okay, let me explain this to you first and foremost. To understand a nominal sentence in Arabic, your number one objective is to decipher where the subject ends and the predicate starts. So, of course, we know that a sentence should have a subject and it should have a predicate. Okay, but where does the subject end? And where does the predicate start? And when I say where does the subject end, what I mean by that is where does the subject and all of the words that come with it end? Because the subject can have a whole group of words that come with it. Its little crew, yes, that big it up, that explain it. It's fine. So I can say, for example, this new student, all right, this new, tall, smart student. All of these words are part of the subject. I haven't said anything about him yet. These are all adjectives for the subject. So where do these adjectives end? And where does the predicate, the information that you're trying to give me about this thing or person, where does it start? That's what it's all about. Now in English, it's pretty straightforward and easy. Why? Because the word is considered to be the barrier between subject and predicate. In English, it's very easy. In English, everything that comes before is the subject. Everything that comes after is the predicate. Okay, so let's check this out. Here in English, these sentences, that's the subject. Okay, the big beautiful house, this is the predicate. Okay, in English. Here, this is the subject. That's the predicate. Okay, so here I'm just pointing at a building and I'm saying this is the big beautiful house. It's like, for maybe you said to me, where is the big beautiful house? Or maybe I promised to show you a big beautiful house. So I pointed it. I'm like, this is the big beautiful house. This sentence here, I'm pointing at a big house. You can see it's big. That's not what I want to tell you. What I want to tell you that it's beautiful. This big house is beautiful, and that small house is disgusting, right? Look at it, you know? So I'm not trying to tell you it's a big house. You know it's big. You can see it. But I'm telling you that it's beautiful. Okay, here we have, this is a big, beautiful house. Now, the difference between this one and this one is that this one is definite. So that's why I said to you here, I promised to show you a big, beautiful house. So it's something that you already had knowledge about. It's the specific house you knew about. But here, this is indefinite now. This is a beautiful, big house. We didn't talk about anything before. I'm just pointing out that, hey, Khalid, you know, this is a beautiful, big house. You know, it's not a house that you previously were wanting to see. Different meanings, you see? Okay. Because if I say to you, this is the big, beautiful house, like that, out of nowhere, you're going to be like, huh? Did we talk about a big, beautiful house before? What do you mean, the big, beautiful house? This one, this is, again, that's the subject. The big, beautiful house. Actually, that's the same as the previous one. Okay, this house is big and beautiful. Okay, here, this is the subject. And this is the predicate. These two are both predicates. So I'm saying two things about it. I'm telling you that this house, it's big, number one, and it's also beautiful. I'm saying two things about it. Whereas here, I already told you that it's beautiful. You already knew it's big. But here, I am telling you it's big. You don't know it's big. I'm telling you, this is a big and beautiful house. Okay? So here, when it comes to English, it's easy, right? But unfortunately, when it comes to Arabic, it's not that straightforward. And that's the reason why all of you got this wrong. Not all of you. Most of you got this wrong. That's why some of you said, this is the big, beautiful house. This big house is beautiful. SubhanAllah, it's one sentence that I wrote in Arabic. How did I get 5, 6 different meanings? Even though all of you know the meanings of every word. That's another point I said I wanted to prove today, which is just knowing the meaning of vocabulary doesn't mean you can understand the sentence. You have to know how a sentence is structured. Okay? So all of you know that Jamil means beautiful, you know Kabir means big, you know Bait means house, you know Hada means this. But still I had 6 different translations, right? All right. So what's the solution, you ask? Ustad, how do I know then? Because Arabs, they don't say is. That's just the way they speak. They'll say to you, Ana mudarris. I mudarris. I teacher. Does that ring a bell? Yes, that's probably if you come across an Arab who's learning English, is new to learning English, he will probably say to you, I teacher, you student. He won't say to you, I am a teacher. He'll say to you, I teacher. He will say to you, you are a student. He'll say to you, you student. Why? Because they don't have the is in their language. For them, the is and the r's and it's just understood. It's like, why would I mention it? You know what it is. You know, it makes sense. I, Anna, I, mudaris, teacher, yani, I am a teacher. It makes sense. So Arabic is a concise language. It doesn't really say things that are obvious, right? It leaves out the obvious. But now you're in trouble. Now you're like, okay, it's obvious to you, it's not obvious to me. Because now, thank you very much. I've got 4 words in a sentence, right? Maybe it makes sense to you where to put the is, but where do I put the is? That's the question, basically. Where do I put the barrier between subject and predicate? Now, if we look at this, what you guys did is you put the barrier in a different place. This is the big, beautiful house. You put the is over here. Okay? That's what you did. You put the is over here. Hada, this is the big, beautiful house. Okay? Those that wrote this, you put the is, this big house. Hada al-Baytul Kabir. Jamil, you put the is over here. Okay? And how about this guy? This guy did the same thing. He put the is over here, but he got rid of the al on the bait. Instead of saying al bait, you said هذا بيت الكبير جميل. Yes, which is still wrong actually, but nevertheless. Okay. This is a beautiful big house. Okay, you would also get rid of this then. Okay, this would make your sentence. You said هذا بيت كبير جميل. That's what you said basically. Okay, this person said هذا البيت الكبير جميل. This person said هذا البيت الكبير جميل, which is actually the same as this. Yes, هذا البيت الكبير جميل. Yeah, هذا. Yeah, you put the is here. Obviously, I need to make changes because the is doesn't belong there. I need to make changes for it to equal this. But I'm just showing you where you put the is. You put the is over here. You put the is over here. You put the is over here. As far as this person is concerned, this house, you put the is over here in the middle. Bang in the middle. So as you can see, your differences lie in where you put the is. So how do I know where to put the barrier? That's what I'm going to teach you today. Okay. All right. Should I tell you? Okay, here goes. Bismillah. It all has to do with adjective versus predicate. That's what it's got to do with. Okay? In other words, how do we know if this word is an adjective or a predicate? Okay? That's why the first thing that we did today is we revised what? The adjectives. What do we say about adjectives? We said that an adjective has to agree with the noun in 4 things: definiteness, gender, number, and case. Okay? If you want to know where to put the is, it's all about this, definiteness. That's why I said to you at the beginning of the lesson, التعريف والتنكير, or definiteness, is one of the most underrated concepts in Arabic grammar. And in my opinion, one of the most important ones. Right? Yes, the key lies in this definiteness. Why? Because adjectives will agree with the noun in everything, but a predicate won't. Predicate will agree in gender, it will agree in number, it will agree in i'rab, but it will disagree in definiteness. So, subject is always definite, because you can't have something that's indefinite as a subject. I can't just say to you, a house. What are you going to tell me about a house? I don't even know what house you're talking about. Huh? A man. What man are you? Before you tell me something about the man, who are you talking about? What if I say to you the house? I can only say the house if it's definite, if you know the house that I'm talking about. Or I might make it definite by using mudaf ilayh. I might say Muhammad's house. I might say Khalid's house. I might say Ahmed's house, Fatima's house. At least you know which house I'm talking about. Okay? So the subject is always going to be definite, which means the predicate is going to be indefinite. The predicate is going to be indefinite. So what's the answer to our big riddle? Our big riddle, which is, how do I know where the subject ends and the predicate starts? The answer to this big riddle is, I know where the predicate starts by looking at where the indefiniteness starts. When the sentence starts to become indefinite, I know that that's where the barrier is. That's where I put my is. That's what I put my what? Is. Equal. The equal sign. I used the equal sign earlier because this is also called in English, you know what they call it? They call it an equational sentence. Equational sentence. Why is it equational sentence? Because you're basically saying this is that. It's equational. It's like equation. 2 + 2 is 4. Same thing. This house is beautiful. Okay, so they call it equational sentence. So where do you put the is? You put the is when you find the indefinite noun. Now let's apply that to our little sentence over here. As a matter of fact, before we apply it, I'm going to ask you. Let's see if you can put to practice what we've learned here. Here we have 4 sentences. A lot of you got it wrong earlier. But now let's see how many of you get it right, inshallah ta'ala. As I ask the same question on WooClap. This time you get to choose from 4 options. Okay? Really sorry, we're not even going to find the opportunity to practice. The Ustad for the workshop, he said if you're 1 minute late, you're late. So we're meant to finish at 9:30. But I'm going to get you to answer this question. And I promise you that inshallah next lesson, we'll do a lot of practice on this inshallah. I'm sure it's going to need a couple of days to mature, to sink in anyway. So it comes in handy, no problem. Okay. هذا البيت الكبير جميل. Okay. There you go. Bismillah. Please don't let me down. This is the example. This is the example I'm going to give. هذا البيت الكبير جميل. Here we have 4 words right after each other. Yes. Where do we put the barrier? Where do we say, hey, this is where the predicate starts? Okay, I've told you how to find out. Okay, I told you how to find out. And it has to do with agreement. Adjectives agree with their nouns in everything, including definiteness. Predicate doesn't. Predicate does not agree when it comes to definiteness. So the subject is definite, predicate is indefinite. Okay? So that's where you can draw the line. That's where you can put the is. I call it the is barrier. طيب. I am very proud to say that alhamdulillah, most of you got it right. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, most of you got it right. Okay, so let's break that down. Here we have a sentence that says هذا البيت الكبير جميل. Now هذا demonstrative pronoun. Demonstrative pronouns are always definite because you're actually pointing at something. It can't be indefinite. البيت is definite because got alif lam. الكبير is definite because got alif lam. So all of these are part of the subject crew. This big house. How do you know it's part of the subject crew and it's all about part of the subject? Because the sentence is not complete yet. Yani, billah alayk, somebody walks up to you and says to you, this big house. You're still waiting for him to say something about the house. You're like, what about it? Right? That tells you that the sentence is not complete, which means the predicate has not come yet. This big house. But then he says to you, is beautiful. Now I know what you're trying to say. Now you can either agree or disagree. That depends on you. Okay. So jamilun is indefinite. So al-bayt, al-kabir is an adjective for al-bayt. Al-kabir is an adjective for al-bayt. Jamilun is not an adjective for al-bayt. Why? Because it's indefinite. If it was an adjective, it would have been al-jamil. If we wrote here هذا البيت الكبير الجميل, we would still be in the same problem, same predicament. Incomplete sentence. This big beautiful house. What about it? This big beautiful house. That would be like two adjectives in a row. Which we can have 100 adjectives, you know that. Technically speaking, you can have 100 adjectives in a row, no problem. Okay? Okay? For example, you know the 99 names of Allah. There's a nasheed that they have. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الرحمن الرحيم الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار till the end. All of these, yes, follow on and on from each other, each word. 99, if you like, adjectives right after each other. No problem. You can have 100 adjectives after each other. I can say هذا البيت الكبير الجميل الجديد الواسع. Yes, you can continue. Your sentence will still not be complete, even if it consists of 50 words. واضح? طيب. So, inshallah ta'ala, we'll suffice with that. Ustad's waiting for us in the workshop. I would have loved to do some more exercises, but no problem, inshallah ta'ala. That gives you some time for it to sink in. Obviously, this was a heavy class today, so it needed a bit of time. I'll send the link to the YouTube channel to the YouTube video in the group straight away, so you can watch it again and again until it sinks in. And inshallah, next lesson we're going to do exercise on this particular topic. As a matter of fact, I'm going to send you a link to an online quiz exactly based on this. You just keep on doing it until next Saturday, okay? And if you get stuck, watch the explanation again. طيب? Very difficult. No, Allah, it's not difficult. It's new. It's new, akhi. It's not difficult. It's not difficult. Okay, and look, this might have been very theoretic and stuff, but when I give you the exercises and you start to figure out the correct answer based on what I've told you, then it will make sense to you, inshallah. Okay? Barakallah fikum. Write down all the possible sentences, then it will become easy. Yeah, so that's what the exercise is about anyway. The exercise I'm going to give you is going to give you 4 possible sentences, and one of them is going to be correct. And I'll record you like a small video, inshallah ta'ala, tomorrow or day after, showing you some sample exercises, some sample questions and how I answer them, inshallah. All right? Hayakumullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'll see you in the workshop. Again, we're going to do a lot of speaking exercises in the workshop as well. Bidnillah al-Kareem with Ustad and Ustada. And I do feel like, sorry, there's a gap here in terms of we haven't practiced it. So let's just do the practice in our own time. And we'll also do